Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show. Lots of stories coming out. Ederson to United is like 99% done. Like the here we go could happen today, could happen tomorrow, could happen anytime. The Ederson deal is basically done. The player has said yes to Manchester United. No other teams are in for Ederson or trying to get Ederson. So we've got a clear run at that. The player wants the move. Atalanta want to sell him. He's got 1 year left on his deal, and we're willing to offer Atalanta £38 million, which I think is a little bit too much for a player with 1 year left on his deal that is 27. But Atalanta ready to do the deal. Ederson ready to do the deal. No competition. Basically everything verbally agreed, pending some final bits and bobs. Then we get a here we go. Manchester United do not seem to be wasting any time because, look, we're working on Matheus Fernandes. He's given us priority. We're hearing all about that. But apparently, according to reports, we're going in for Sandro Tonali. Now, at the weekend, we were massively linked with Tonali from sources coming out in Italy saying we're ready to offer 100 million. We're ready to do the deal. Reliable sources have said we could be willing to spend 100 million on a midfielder this summer. That's been coming out. And I've always said with Ederson, if Ederson is coming in with the Casemiro replacement, I'm not happy. If Ederson is coming in as a third midfielder and we're going to get Matheus Fernandes and 100 million midfielder on top of Ederson, absolutely happy. 100 million midfielder, Matheus Fernandes, Ederson, great business. Ederson as the Casemiro replacement, and one of those players could be Tonali. Anderson set to go to City despite the club changing managers and could be going down for their 115 charges. Tchouaméni looks like he's going to stay at Real Madrid, and I think Man United have realised their best chance of getting a top-level midfielder to replace Casemiro with is Sandro Tonali, who, again, hasn't had the best season, but he wants the move. His agent's pushing for the move. He's happy to move to another Premier League club, and Newcastle, for the right price, could be willing to sell him. What worries me with Tonali is if Newcastle are going to get 70 million for Anthony Gordon from Barcelona, which looks quite likely, which is crazy, they might want 120 million plus for Tonali, which is a piss take. Tonali should be 90 million pounds. I think that would be a fair price. And reports are coming out basically saying, Tonali to Man United is moving, it's on, United want him, they're going to go for him as soon as they get Ederson wrapped up. Some sources say we've even got some kind of agreement there, verbally, in principle, some kind of secret agreement there, but I don't believe that media, and I don't believe those stories of deals being agreed and things being secretly agreed, this, that, and that. But what I do believe is we are probably going to go for Tonali. Some sources have come out in the last week and said United are very confident they're going to sign Tonali, and I've gone, where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? Well, there's more on Tonali right now. So we'll get into the Ederson news, we'll get into Tonali news, but before I get into the Ederson news and Tonali news, which I've briefly explained, I feel we have to get into this Gordon news, and I know I covered it earlier today in my show, so I won't try and cover it for too long, but at first I thought it was a PR spin, not PR spin, what's the word? A negotiation tactic from Barcelona to try and get Man United to agree to a Rashford loan. But I think Barcelona are serious. If I look at what Barcelona need, they need a centre-back and a striker. Barcelona's two priorities should be centre-back followed by striker this summer. Yet they're going to spend 70 million on a left winger. That's 70 million plus bonuses. So they could be paying 80 million in total for Anthony Gordon. And yes, Rashford's wages are higher than Gordon's, but Rashford's willing to take a wage cut. So if you include Rashford's wage cut, Rashford's wages are only a couple million more than Gordon's. So is it worth spending 50 million more to get Gordon, who would probably be nearly 80 million in total, when you can get Rashford for 25 million? If you include the wages, you're probably paying about 40 million more for Gordon. I mean, I think that's absolutely mental. Don't get me wrong. Gordon will probably do well in La Liga. You look at Elanga when he plays La Liga teams, always scores. You look at Anthony in the Prem compared to La Liga. A player like Gordon and his athleticism will probably do pretty well in La Liga. But Gordon has, 2 open play goals in the Premier League this season? So Marcus Rashford gets 28 goal contributions in 2,500 minutes, which is a goal contribution per game for Barcelona, has proven himself with Barcelona, is willing to take a wage cut, has been good for Barcelona. Barcelona fans want him to stay, but you want to spend 3 times the price on 2 open play goals, Premier League, Anthony Gordon, that Newcastle fans are loving. They're laughing at this. But this means, Rashford could be back. Some people say, I think this just means Rashford goes to Bayern. All I think this means is Rashford goes to Bayern. Honestly, I just look at, and I can't believe this is real. We've had Ornstein and Romano get on this. This story is real. Barca have agreed personal terms with Gordon and made a bid. Like, we could get a here we go done deal for this tonight, tomorrow. Like, this could be a here we go done deal. Gordon could be announced in a Barcelona top before the World Cup. I mean, Rashford going to the World Cup, seeing Gordon there, stealing his dream move. I mean, you can't be mad at Gordon. Rashford better be mad at Barcelona. Rashford, if Rashford ends up being mad at Gordon or Man United, silly. Rashford needs to be mad at Barcelona because you've played really well for Barcelona and they don't want to pay 26 million for you. I'm going to say this now. Marcus Rashford, have some self-respect and stick your middle finger up at Barcelona. Honestly, I know Barcelona is your dream, but you know what? There's some fat, ugly guys out there whose dream is Margot Robbie. They're not going to get Margot Robbie. Now, to be fair to you, Rashford, you're good enough to get Barcelona. Whereas some of these guys that want Margot Robbie aren't good enough to get Margot Robbie. But there's some blokes out there that want Margot Robbie. And Margot Robbie doesn't want them. And you know what? You want Barcelona. And they don't want you. And you know what? Say, fair, they don't want me. Stick your finger up and go to someone that does want you. Go to someone that does want you. Because I'm sorry, Marcus Rashford, Barcelona should be paying up for you. You want them. You're willing to lower your wages by 40% to get this move. You've played well for them. And for some reason, they're going for Anthony Gordon off the back of a crap season at Newcastle, and Newcastle fans can't wait to get rid of him. Look, I think Anthony Gordon maybe suits more, Flick's long-term plans, the pressing, the way that Barcelona want to play, yeah, probably. But is he better than Rashford? No. Is he a better runner than Rashford? Yes. Is he a better presser than Rashford? Yes. But is he a better player? No. Does he have better output? No. Will he start with Rashford for England? No. Has he had a better season than Rashford? No. I mean, look, surprises me. I think he'll do well at Barcelona, but I just look at Barcelona and go, if you've got Barcelona haven't been able to spend big in years because of financial issues, and the 1 year Barcelona are able to spend big, they go for Anthony Gordon. You could go for Julian Alvarez, you could go for João Pedro, you could go for a centre back, which is what you need more than a left winger. I think Rashford is the perfect deal for Barcelona because you get Rashford for 25 million, you save 40-50 million on Gordon, and that 40-50 million can go on a centre back, and then you've got more money to go for a striker. That's the way I see it. But if I'm Rashford, I see this and stick my fingers up at Barcelona. I do. I say, I gave you this, this, and this. I gave you a goal contribution per game. I played well for you. I scored some big goals, got some big assists, did really well in the Champions League. Didn't complain when I was on the bench. And I'm 25 million. I've said I'm going to lower my wages for you. I've had a good season, and you've decided you want to spend 3 times the price on the guy that is behind me in the England setup on the left wing, who's coming off a poor season. If I'm Rashford, I say F Barcelona. Rashford rejected everyone to get his move to Barcelona. Rashford's willing to lower his wages big time to get his move to Barcelona. Rashford, if Rashford all of a sudden sees this and goes to Man United, no, I still want Barcelona, let me go on loan. Shameless. Absolutely shameless. Sometimes you just have to look at it and go, that's what I want, but they don't want me. And instead of chasing someone that doesn't want you, have some self-respect. And you know what? I think Bayern will get Rashford. People are saying, look, does that mean we're going to keep Rashford? No, Bayern want Gordon. I think Bayern will just go for Rashford. I think they will. Gordon uses bad for Man United. Rashford's wage issue strengthens Newcastle's negotiating power. But Rashford's willing to lower his wage. And Rashford would probably only earn 30, 40 grand a week more than Gordon after what he's willing to lower his wage to. So I don't get that. Barca had 60 million to sign Williams last summer too, then lost it when it came to Rashford. Exactly. It's like they don't want to pay up for Rashford. And do they not want to pay up for Rashford because Rashford isn't what they want? Or do they not want to pay up for Rashford because they know it's Manchester United? I think it's two. I think it's because they know it's Manchester United. I think if Rashford was an Arsenal player, they would have brought him. I think if Rashford was a Chelsea player, they would have brought him. I think because it's Manchester United, they can try it on. And look, Barca fans are raging at this. They're absolutely raging at this as well, to be honest. But I look at Rashford and I look at this and I say, fuck Barca. Honestly, fuck. If I'm Rashford, stop begging for them. Fuck them. Honestly, Villa could take Rashford. I think he'll go buy him, but Villa are back in the UCL. If I was an Aston Villa fan, I'd be looking at this with excitement. If I was an Aston Villa fan, I'd be saying, we should get on this. Would he rather go to Bayern or Villa? I feel like he'd rather go to Bayern, but at Villa, he could be the main man. But then he's back in England with the English press and the English media. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but look, enough of the Rashford story. Let's talk Ederson. Let's talk other shizzle going about. Yeah, so. Okay. Ederson news. United are on the verge of signing Ederson. United are in the closing stages of negotiating a 38 million deal with an expected 35 million to be paid up front. Said it many times. Ederson plus Matheus Fernandes plus 100 million midfielder, very happy. Ederson is the Casemiro replacement, not happy. Time Sport said this though. United have agreed a deal with Atalanta to sign Ederson for 35 plus 3 million in add-ons and is expected to be completed before the end of the week. Ederson is viewed as the long-term Casemiro replacement. That bottom line scares me. Ederson can't get in a 55-man preliminary Brazil squad. Oh, but he's the Casemiro replacement, yeah. If we think we can replace Casemiro with Ederson, then I feel sorry for Michael Carrick. Ederson is the Garte replacement. Ederson is an upgrade on the Garte, good player to have for depth, will work hard, will want to be here, but he's not a Casemiro replacement. He's not. In a world where City want Anderson, if we're getting Ederson, it's giving Rodri and Fred transfer window again. We've agreed to deal with Ederson, though. This is why I think this is done. Every source is saying we've agreed personal terms with Ederson last week. Personal terms with Ederson agreed. Ederson's chosen us. We've now agreed to deal with Atalanta. We're just finalising the add-ons. A here we go could come in an hour. It could come in 10 minutes. It could come tonight. It could come tomorrow. It could come in 3 days' time. We are finalising the add-ons. We've agreed the fee. We've agreed the price. We've agreed the deal with Ederson. By the way, this deal was done. This deal was basically done pending two things. One, Elliot Anderson says to Man United, you know what? I'd actually be happy to join you. We put it on pause. We save our money. We get Anderson over the line first. Or two, I don't know. I think it's just done. I think unless that happens, I think we probably get it done. Yeah, I think this is probably going to be done. But look, maybe the times are rage baiting, and people say don't hate on Ederson. I don't mind him as long as he's not Casemiro replacement. Man United standards, not good enough to replace Casemiro, more than good enough to replace Ugarte. I was a bit negative at first because when you get linked to all these names and then Ederson, he's more underwhelming. But no, he was Ederson 2 years ago. I wanted Man United to sign him. I'll say that 2 years ago, I wanted Man United to sign Ederson. He was really good in 23-24. The first half of 24-25, he was good. He's been underwhelming for a little over a year. 2 years ago, I would have loved Man United to sign Ederson just because of what happened with Ugarte, just because of his technical limitations, just because his form's dropped off a bit. It's just a bit underwhelming. But I think as a third midfield signing, it's fine. Casemiro replacement, red flag. Sully, who's been spot on, one of the best sources of information when it's come to this story and ahead of all the other journalists, said this. The general consensus internally is that Ederson is expected to join United barring any last-minute setback. The whole recruitment plus data team are aligned on the deal. I don't believe it was a case of us being undecided. So obviously Romano sort of suggested that the fact that, everything's done, Man United just need to decide if they should greenlight the deal. Sully is saying they want to do the deal. It will probably be done pending these things. Whereas Romano's kind of saying the deal is done, but United haven't decided if they're going to click the button to complete it. Romano maybe alludes to, is there something else? And we just got Ederson all done and just in case. Sully kind of alludes to, it should be all done and there isn't something else. And Sully has been way ahead of this than Romano and every other source. Sully has been on this like mad. We then have Ben Jacobs drop onto the story. United are now close to an agreement on a fee with Atalanta for Ederson. The final package being discussed is under 45 million euros. Ederson has now agreed a 5-year contract and is waiting on the clubs to resolve final points. So, Ederson deal agreed on player side. Ederson deal agreed on club side. Ederson is agreed. Ederson is pretty much done pending final buttons being pushed, add-ons being finalised. Could United now be looking elsewhere? Manchester United want another reinforcement in midfield after Ederson, and the first name remains Tonali. Now, if we go back to last week, Demarzio reported that Manchester United are confident they can sign Tonali and Ederson, and then 2 days later, the Ederson news heated up, and there was a few links to Tonali. But the first person that linked us to Ederson and said that this could happen was actually Demarzio, who said we're confident that we could get Ederson and Tonali, and they're the two midfielders we're going for. More sources are coming out in Italy that we want another midfield reinforcement after Ederson, and we are going to go for Tonali. We're going to move fast. We're going to try and get that deal done quick. Tonali's agent. Tonali's agent is a player. Tonali's agent wants to get Tonali a move. He'll see Gordon getting his move out of Newcastle and be like, Newcastle then got funds. You know, they're in a stronger position to keep Tonali against his will. Tonali wants out. Arsenal want Tonali. Could Tonali's agent be going and spreading that Man United are close to doing a deal to try and hurry up Arsenal, to try and hurry up more interest in him and start a bidding war? Maybe. Or could Manchester United genuinely be in for Tonali? I know Tonali's on the list. I know we like Tonali. Do I think we're generally in for Tonali, like we're going to make a move and try and get this deal done the next week, like it's kind of being suggested in media? I'm not sure. I'd have to see someone a bit more trusty say that. But there's a lot of sources suggesting we will make our move for Tonali. Ederson, Mateus, Tonali, I'm not going to complain. I prefer Anderson and Tchouaméni over Tonali, but if you physically can't get them, then Ederson, Mateus, Tonali, I'm not going to complain too much. But the fear is with Gordon going, I don't know if Newcastle are going to sell Tonali. I think we're going to end up with Ederson, Mateus and Baleba, which I'm not against, but I think we could do better. Now, interestingly, this story came out. Breaking, Manchester United have now raided Syria for the signature of Ederson, but they're not prepared to stop with the midfield signing. The signing is now close to completion, and Manchester United are believed to be finalising a move. At the same time, Manchester United are now prepared to push for Sandro Tonali. The Italy star is valued at €100 million, which is £85 million. It's now the next Devil's next major target. So every source is saying Ederson, basically done. Then we're going for Tonali, £85 million. Tonali for £85 million, I would do it now. I would do it now. I would do it in a heartbeat. I just thought if Gordon is going for 70 million, I struggle to believe that Tonali will be £85 million. I struggle to believe that, yeah. Reports are coming out from Italy that United are going to make a major push to get Tonali over the line. He's valued at €100 million. That is sort of what's being reported. Manchester United's plan is to now go for Tonali as soon as they wrap up Ederson, is being reported heavily. If we go into past links on Tonali, again, there was reports in the past that we've actually verbally agreed some stuff and that Tonali is open to the move. But again, not credible. Credible sources say Tonali is open to the move, but no one tier 1 credible is reporting any kind of agreement. But tier 3 sources actually report that there's some kind of verbal agreement in place in the past, but I think it's probably made up rubbish. What's been reported on Tonali is that United are close to reaching an agreement, was also reported. Do I think Man United are close to reaching an agreement on Tonali? No, I don't. I personally don't think that Manchester United are close to reaching an agreement on Tonali, but that has been reported. And there's a lot of reports coming out of Italy particularly that say United are very confident that they can do this deal. United are confident they can get Tonali, and some are suggesting that it's very, very close. I personally don't believe that, don't buy into that, but there's clearly something going on here because, again, Man United decided to focus on Sandro Tonali regardless of Ederson. Tonali is the first player Carrick wants at United, and there's a good chance the transfer will go through. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to believe. I struggle to believe a lot of the Tonali stories, to be honest, but I hope we get him. If we're to believe the media, who, bear in mind, the Italian media, who I do slag off the Italian media because I do think they're full of shit a lot of the time. But if we are to believe the Italian media, who was spot on about Ederson, and I say Italian media, they always use United for clicks, but they were spot on about Ederson. The same sources that were spot on about Ederson are saying this about Tonali, that we're going to focus on him. So maybe it's a case of we get Ederson, we get Mateus Fernandes. So when we go to Newcastle for Tonali, we've already signed 2 midfielders. We're in a stronger negotiating position, and we're saying you can't ask for 120 million. We've just signed 2 midfielders. Tonali wants to go, he'll push for the move. Maybe that's the tactic, but dealing with Newcastle is going to be very, very difficult. Get Krupi. I'd like Krupi, but I don't think we will go for him as well. Dimarcio's nothing since Romano left. Dimarcio's all right. He's all right. He's good when it comes to some things, but his reps gone downhill. Oh, if it's reported, it must be true. No, I always say I think a lot of the things that are reported aren't potentially true. I think, I get why United fans don't believe anything to the contract signed and they're in the shirt. We've seen what happened with De Jong in the past, Sancho in the past, of course. But I think with Ederson, if there's no other clubs in for Ederson, he's agreed terms with us and we've agreed a fee with Atalanta. Unless United decide they don't want him, Ederson's going to be done because Atalanta want to sell him. Ederson's agreed to the move. No one else is in for Ederson. I don't see how it's not done. Tonali is the Norgard replacement. The fact that Arsenal won the league and want to replace Norgard with Tonali, while we're, according to the Times, seeing Ederson as a Casemiro replacement would worry me. I don't think we see Ederson's a Casemiro replacement. I think the times are rage baiting. But if City get Elliot Anderson, Arsenal get Tonali, and we do replace Casemiro Ederson, so I'm just not convinced by that. I expect Matheus Fernandes to be done the week the window opens. Hopefully. On Matheus Fernandes, no new news on him, but it is Man United want him. Man United are working on him. The Ederson deal isn't expected to change or impact our chances of getting Matheus Fernandes. Matheus Fernandes wants United. He picked United. We want to do the deal. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I expect us to get Matheus Fernandes, considering he's going to pick us over Arsenal and PSG, according to reports. I would love Lewis Hall, but if Gordon goes and Tonali goes, no one else will leave Newcastle. I think Newcastle would let 2 players go max, and 2 players they wouldn't let go are Bruno Guimaraes and Lewis Hall. I don't think it'll be those players. I think it would be 2 of Gordon, Livramento, Tonali. I don't think Lewis Hall will be possible now. Newcastle fans are desperate for the Gordon deal to be done for 70 million. They can't believe it. I'm surprised Barcelona want to do their first big deal in years and spend 70 million on Gordon when it's not even their priority position. Who knows? Maybe it's a game to trick Man United, but I don't know. I mean, would they make bids if it was just a negotiation tactic? I'm not sure. Alice, do you like Benjamin Sesko? Of course, I like Benjamin Sesko. Very happy with him. I'm very, very happy with him. Anthony Gordon to Barcelona, here we go, could happen soon. This would be the end of Rashford. What happens to Rashford? I just think Rashford goes to Bayern Munich. Do you want Morgan Rogers? Look, I might Morgan Rogers. I wouldn't complain if we signed him, but I wouldn't personally go for him. I don't think he's the profile that we need, if that makes sense. But Barcelona have reached an agreement in principle with Newcastle to sign Anthony Gordon, 70 million plus bonuses. Barcelona have penciled in the medical to next week to anticipate the deal quickly. Wow. It's actually happening. Now, some will say maybe we can get 40 million for Rashford now. Maybe we can try 40 million for Rashford, but I think for the fact that we have a 26 million clause, I think I'll just go to Bayern for 26, 30 million. But wow, that's mental. That is madness. Anthony Gordon probably can't believe it. Honestly, you believe clickbait merchant Jacobs? He's not a clickbait merchant. Like, Ben Jacobs is a good journalist. He's not Ornstein, but he's good, guys. He's good. Like, honestly, that's mad. And the fact that they got a big deal done so quickly. The fact that they got a big deal done so quickly as well. The money Newcastle are getting from Gordon was always plan A, and that's why they put such a high price on Tonali. I do worry that Tonali is going to be less attainable with the money that they're going to get from Gordon. That is mental. Anthony Gordon's been sat on the bench for 5 weeks, can't get a start for Newcastle United, but all of a sudden, top clubs want him. I mean, it's mad. Look, I do think Gordon will do well. I do think Gordon will do well, by the way. I do. I just can't believe they're spending that much money on it. He was good in the Champions League, and maybe that's why. But then, like 4 of those signings were from 4 of those goals were against Karabakh. But yeah, that surprises me a bit. But anyway, look, I was just doing a quick live stream to discuss the news. What's being reported is Ederson is basically done. Then we're going to move for Tonali. Tonali's the next priority, 100 million deal. United have confidence they can do that. I would take that news with a pinch of salt. I don't know if we're going to move for Tonali. Gordon, he's going to Barcelona. I don't know what's going on with Rashford, probably Bayern Munich. Rashford is going to be one to watch in the next few days with this Gordon to Barcelona deal. And look, I do think Gordon does well at Barcelona. I just think the fee is nuts, considering Rashford's there for 26 million. Matheus Fernandes, nothing new there, but confidence that could be done. Gordon's probably got the pace and pressing that Flick will like. Thank you, people, for watching. I will be back tonight, unless there is no news. See you next time. Bye.